We often get the question, what is a qualified income trust? What is a Miller trust? When do I need these types of trusts? And it's important to know that, first of all, a Miller trust is the same exact thing as a qualified income trust. Sometimes it's also called an income-only trust or a Medicaid income trust. So these are all terms that mean the same thing. The idea is that if you want to qualify for certain Medicaid long-term care benefits, that could be the Florida Medicaid ICP program, which is what helps pay for skilled nursing home care, or the Medicaid waiver, also known as the Home and Community-Based Services program, which is what gets Medicaid to pay for a portion of your ALF or a portion of your home health care. And in order to qualify for these programs, your income has to be below a certain level and your assets have to be below a certain level. And the Miller Trust, or the income trust, or the qualified income trust, again, all mean the same thing, is for those who have income that exceeds the Medicaid income cap. Currently, as we sit here in 2020, the income cap is $2,349. That changes every year, every January. And essentially what it means is if you are between your Social Security, your pension, your 401k distributions, or IRA distributions, rental income, right? They take all your income sources together. And if the gross amount of that income exceeds the income cap, you don't qualify for Medicaid unless you take the difference and place it into a qualified income trust each and every month. So you come to an elder law attorney such as myself. We work with people all across the state of Florida. And if you have too much income, we create this income trust for you, and we instruct you with great detail, both verbally and in writing, how to properly establish the trust and then fund the trust each and every month. Now, there's a couple of drawbacks to income trust. The first one, which I believe to be a very minor one, is the fact that after the Medicaid recipient passes away, the trustee of the Miller Trust has an obligation to notify Medicaid and then repay back to Medicaid dollar for dollar what Medicaid put into my client's care. This is sometimes referred to as Medicaid estate recovery. So the reason why this is not that big of a deal is because this is money that comes in and flows right back out. Essentially, sometimes when people think about a trust, they think of money accumulating month after month after month, and that is not the case with a qualified income trust. The income goes in and the money comes right back out. So essentially, the income trust account should be zeroing out at the end of every month. Okay, so if it's zeroing out at the end of every month, there may be very little to nothing to pay back to Medicaid out of the income trust funds when the Medicaid recipient eventually passes away. The other drawback to Miller trusts is there is a limitation on how the funds can be used, and the limitation is it has to be used for the health and medical related expenses that Medicaid's not covering. So if my client's in a nursing home or an assisted living facility, because your income can be used to pay those bills, in a nursing home it must be used to pay those bills, and in ALF it can be used to pay those bills, this often isn't a problem because an ALF bill is accepted as a reasonable medical expense. But qualified income trust can be a little bit more complicated if someone is desiring Medicaid to pay for home health care, because while paying for extra care is an expense, paying for things like rent and utilities and other non-medical expenses are not allowed to be dispersed from an income trust. And in those cases, it sometimes makes more sense to utilize a pooled special needs trust, and I will include a link to an article and a video that talks about that in more detail. But essentially, just know that a Miller Trust is for the folks whose income exceeds Florida's income cap, and it is a device that will allow them to otherwise qualify for Medicaid. Now, if they have a problem with too much by way of assets, an income trust is not needed or will not be used. We have other strategies to deal with that as well. But I hope this clarifies what is a Miller Trust, what is a qualified income trust, and when are these devices used.